Okay, let's dive straight into this. We are unpacking one of the absolute darkest, most enduring mysteries of the 20th century, the case of Hans Kammler. But look, we aren't going to be digging through dusty archives or arguing over contradictory military reports today. Instead, we're doing something a little different. We're conducting an astrological autopsy. We're going to look at this totally cold case from May 1945 through the highly specific, incredibly forensic lens of Vedic astrology. And honestly, it's an absolutely fascinating way to see how cosmic cycles align with human destiny.
Because think about it, it is literally the ultimate locked room mystery, just on a global scale. How exactly does a man holding the absolute darkest, most advanced military secrets of a collapsing regime just vanish without a trace? No verified body, no certain date of death, just a dozen totally conflicting stories. To figure this out, we've got to shift our perspective. By examining the energetic signatures swirling around his disappearance, a shockingly clear picture actually starts to emerge from the fog of war.
Now, just to be completely clear right up front for this explainer, we are keeping things strictly neutral here. We are not declaring definitive historical facts, we aren't naming specific names, and we're certainly not taking sides on any conspiracy theories. What we are doing is calmly analyzing the data. We're reading the karmic dynamics, the planetary dasha cycles, and the exact transits of that time period. We're purely analyzing the energetic context and the underlying nature of the event itself, exactly as the astrological source material lays it out.
So, Hans Kammler was born on August 26, 1901 in Stettin. And for decades, the guy built a life totally defined by massive structures and immense overarching authority. But as we track his karmic destiny forward, you can see this cosmic net rapidly tightening. By early 1945, his astrological chart plunges straight into a ridiculously volatile and lethal planetary cycle. And then bam, May 1945, the timeline just abruptly stops. He vanishes. So you might be wondering, how do astrologers even map a chart for someone when we don't have their exact birth time?
Well, it turns out they use a really fascinating foundational technique in Vedic astrology called Chandra Lagna. Since there's literally no recorded birth time for Kammler, astrologers use the moon, or Chandra, as the ascendant to basically anchor the entire chart. It's a highly effective standard method for doing a karmic analysis of death. It lets us read the really heavy, fated elements of his life trajectory. We can map out his deep psychological and energetic destiny even without knowing the exact minute he took his first breath.
Now, what's really interesting when we look at Kammler's energetic DNA is how perfectly it lines up with his actual real-world life. His moon in Capricorn points to a life completely dominated by rigid structures, massive power, and these really dark, unyielding hierarchies. It is a very heavy, military-focused karma. Add to that a heavily dominant Mars, which brings the energy of brutal command, military engineering, bunker construction, and, well, destruction. And finally, a highly active Rahu. Rahu is the shadow planet. It governs clandestine operations, occult projects, advanced tech, and, crucially here, unclear vanishing deaths.
As our source material perfectly puts it, Kammler is literally a Rahu Martian archetype. And this isn't just some vague personality test. This specific energetic makeup mirrors his real-world role with just chilling accuracy. I mean, he was the guy in charge of secret weapons and black ops. He truly, physically embodied the shadow of Rahu and the destructive military force of Mars.
Which brings us right to that fateful window of May 1945. According to the chart, Kammler entered what's called a dasha of Rahu-Mars. In Vedic astrology, a Rahu-Mars planetary period is known as one of the absolute most lethal phases a person can go through. It's fundamentally tied to violent deaths, forced suicides, betrayals, and highly secretive military operations. Essentially, it is the energetic signature of an orchestrated disappearance. The walls were literally closing in on him, not just on the battlefield, but right there in his astrological chart.
Let's play detective for a second and map out the cosmic crime scene from May 1945. Saturn was in Cancer, exactly opposite his natal moon, which signals a total psychological collapse. Absolute isolation, all protection gets stripped away, marking the definitive end of a karmic cycle. Meanwhile, Mars was in Gemini, triggering sudden, unnatural violence. Rahu was also moving through Gemini, pointing straight to concealment, the vanishing of a body, and the destruction of physical documents. And finally, an exalted sun in Aries. Now, an exalted sun doesn't mean glory here. It indicates that a final, absolute decision was handed down from a much higher political or military authority. It is an inescapable, perfect storm. So the crucial point is, when you compare the historical myths to this astrological data, a really stark contrast pops up. The stars show absolutely zero energetic trace of voluntary suicide, no accidental death, no successful escape to South America. It's just not there. Instead, the combined configuration points exclusively to a violent death, a hidden body, and an assassination carried out by others. This is the unmistakable cosmic signature of a betrayal, an elimination, a brutal, permanent closing of the dossier.
And all of this intense, specific energy converges on one thing: the number 8. In astrology, the 8th house governs death, secrets, and transformations. In Kammler's chart, this 8th house was violently activated by both Rahu and Mars. This is literally the exact astrological formula for a sudden death in a totally isolated place, where there are 0 witnesses. The body is never ever recovered, and the official story fed to the public is just entirely false.
Okay, so if we ask the ultimate question, who actually did it? Well, the stars can't exactly give us a first and last name, but they do give us the energetic profile of the executioners. This brilliantly illustrates a coordinated event. Saturn represents the rigid hierarchies in the state apparatus. Rahu accessed the clandestine secret services carrying out the black ops. Mars represents the physical military executioners pulling the trigger. And that exalted sun? That shows this definitely wasn't just some random act by rogue soldiers. It was a calculated, top-down political decision. Pulling all these planetary clues together gives us an incredibly chilling final verdict from the stars. Energetically speaking, Kammler's disappearance was an act decided by a higher authority, executed militarily, and covered in secrecy to eliminate sensitive information. He had simply become too dangerous. He was carrying way too many secrets for the people controlling him to let him live, or worse, to let him fall into enemy hands.
You know, it's a dark, almost poetic justice. The ultimate karmic fate of Hans Kammler perfectly mirrors the exact life he built. Think about it. A man whose entire existence was predicated on shadows, hidden bunkers, and devastating military secrets meets an end completely consumed by that exact same secrecy. Dying in the shadows, no body, no specific date, forever denied an official truth. The very apparatus he helped build ultimately just erased him from existence. It really makes you stop and wonder about the nature of history itself. We rely so heavily on paper trails and official documents, but as we've seen today, sometimes the truth is deliberately burned away. Yet, the energetic signature, that remains. If our ultimate karma leaves such a precise, undeniable cosmic signature, what other buried historical truths are just waiting to be read in the stars? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep questioning everything, keep learning, and I'll see you next time as we dive into another wild mystery.